My name is Tessa Calder, and I'm 29 years old. If you ask my family, they'll tell you my story starts and ends with one word: loser. The kind of loser who works with her hands instead of sitting behind a desk. The kind of loser who fixes cars for free because that's what family does. The kind of loser who gets turned into a joke in a group chat and doesn't fight back. At least that's who they thought I was. It started with the alternator. My dad's old Ford wouldn't start, and he couldn't afford to take it to a shop. He called me like he always did when something broke, not because he respected my time or my skills, but because I wouldn't charge him. He just expected it. I had already worked that morning. My hands still smelled faintly like engine oil from a Civic that needed more love than its owner. I could have said no. I could have let his truck sit in the driveway and rot, but I didn't. I dropped everything, grabbed my tools, and drove over. On the way there, my boyfriend Ryan texted me, "You okay? You look exhausted in your last snap." I sent him a selfie from a red light, dark circles under my eyes, hair pulled into a greasy bun. Dad's truck died again. Guess who's the free roadside service? He replied with a sad emoji and, "Text me if you need anything. I'll come by after my shift." I told him not to. I wasn't ready for him to see this part of my life up close. When I pulled into my dad's driveway, the Ford sat there like a dead animal, half in the shade, half in the sun. The hood was already popped. Typical. Dad walked out of the house in his faded windbreaker like this was a minor inconvenience. No hello, no thanks for coming, just a grunt and a gesture toward the truck. "It's the alternator, I think," he said. "Shouldn't take you long." He shoved a lukewarm Gatorade into my hand like it counted as payment, mumbled something about me knowing what to do, and went back inside to watch TV. I stood there for a second, the bottle sweating in my palm, listening to the muffled sound of the game coming from the living room. Then I tucked my hair behind my ears, rolled up my sleeves, and got to work. The sun was brutal. Within 20 minutes, my shirt was sticking to my back, my jeans were clinging to my legs, and my arms were streaked with grease. Every bolt I touched felt like it had been welded there purely out of spite, but I wasn't complaining. I was used to it. Somewhere around the second hour, my lower back started to throb. I stretched, wiped sweat from my brow with the back of my wrist, and leaned deeper over the open hood. That's when I saw him out of the corner of my eye. "Dad." He was standing on the porch, phone in his hand, pointed directly at me. For half a second, my chest warmed. I thought maybe, just maybe, it was one of those awkward dad moments where he was proud, but didn't know how to say it. Maybe he wanted to show people his daughter could fix what other people couldn't. So I looked up, gave a little nod to the camera, even managed a tired smile. I felt stupid for that later. I didn't realize what he'd done until I checked my phone during a water break. I sat on the front step, twisted the cap off the Gatorade, and grabbed my phone from my pocket. Notifications. Dozens of them. The family group chat, the one that usually only came to life for birthday messages and recycled memes, was blowing up. I opened it, expecting a meme, a picture of someone's lunch, a random "Good Morning Fam" sticker. Instead, it was me. A video of me hunched over the engine, ponytail hanging down, shirt clinging to my back, arms covered in grease, wiping sweat from my face with the back of my hand. And the caption above it, written by my dad: "Look at this loser, fixing cars for free like it's 1952. I just stared at the screen. My heart dropped into my stomach. Then the comments started rolling in, each one a little jab. Nathan, my cousin: "LOL classic Tessa. Let me know when she's done. I got a toilet that needs scrubbing." Eric: "Should have at least gone to trade school, girl." Josh: "Free labor Calder strikes again." Even my aunt chimed in with, "She's such a sweet kid. Bless her little heart." Somehow, that one hurt the most. Sweet kid. Like I was a child doing something cute, not a grown woman covered in grease keeping their cars alive. My phone buzzed with a new notification. This time it wasn't the family chat. It was a screenshot from my coworker. I opened it and felt the air leave my lungs. My dad had uploaded the same video to Facebook, publicly. New caption this time: "Check out this loser. Free work and still slow." Hacked family. Over 60 comments, some from people I hadn't heard from since high school, laughing, tagging others, sharing. My thumb hovered as I scrolled. People I used to hang out with, boys I used to like, girls who once sat next to me in chemistry, now tagging each other in the comments. One guy wrote, "Didn't she cry once in gym class?" 19 likes. Another notification popped up. Ryan: "Tess, your dad posted a video. I'm so sorry. Chloe sent it to our old group chat. Are you okay?" Chloe, his ex. Of course she saw it. Of course it was entertaining. The loser mechanic girlfriend, covered in sweat and dirt, being laughed at by her own father. I stared at the messages in silence. I didn't respond in the chat. I didn't defend myself in the comments. I didn't send my dad a single word. I just stood up, walked back to the Ford, and put my tools away. Carefully, deliberately. Ratchet, wrench, socket set, each piece clicking into place in my toolbox like a period at the end of a sentence. I closed the hood of the truck without saying a word. Didn't knock on the door. Didn't tell him it was fixed. I just got in my car and drove away. I didn't go home. I didn't go to Ryan's. I drove to the place nobody in my family ever bothered to ask about, the garage. From the outside, it didn't look like much yet. A squat building with sun-faded paint, big bay doors, and a cracked sign where the previous shop's name had been pulled off, leaving ghost letters behind. But inside, it was mine. I unlocked the door, flicked on the lights, and stood there in the empty, echoing space. Tool chests lined one wall, still half full from the old owner who had retired. Lifts waited, silent and steady. A bright red Mustang rested on one of them, mid-service, like it was holding its breath. I ran my hand over the fender. This was what my family didn't know, what they never bothered to see. Fixing cars wasn't just a hobby anymore. While they were busy laughing, I'd been flipping cars on the side, saving every dollar that didn't go to rent or food. I'd registered an LLC in my name, filed the papers, met with a man who'd run this shop for years and wanted someone to take over who actually cared. 2 weeks before my dad's Ford died, I'd signed the last page. The keys were already in my pocket. So no, when I drove away from his house, I wasn't running. I was arriving. I set my phone up on a tripod near the front of the bay, angling the camera so the red Mustang was behind me, the tool racks to my left, the framed license I'd just hung on the wall to my right. I pressed record. I looked straight into the lens. No tears, no yelling, just tired honesty. Some of you may have seen a video recently where I was called a loser for fixing a car, I began. That car was my dad's. He didn't pay me. I didn't ask him to. I let that sit for a beat. But here's the thing, I continued. While he was busy filming me and laughing, I was out here building something. I stepped aside so the camera could see the full view of the shop. The lifts, the Mustang, the license on the wall with my name. This is my new shop, I said quietly. I own it now. It's mine. I turned back toward the camera, a small, almost disbelieving smile tugging at the corner of my mouth. And yeah, I added, it's called Free Labor Auto, named after the joke. So, thanks for the marketing, Dad. I ended the recording, trimmed the silence at the start and end, and uploaded it, first to my own page, then everywhere his video had gone. Within 24 hours, my phone buzzed so much it overheated. Comments, shares, DMs from people I'd never met, mechanics from neighboring towns, kids who'd been called losers for liking dirty work, women who'd been mocked for not having real jobs. And buried in those messages, the calls started. From my dad, from the cousins, from relatives who hadn't bothered to know my middle name. They wanted to talk. They wanted to clear the air. They wanted me to undo what I'd done. But what none of them understood, not yet, was that I hadn't just posted a clapback video. I'd drawn a line, and for the first time in my life, I was standing on the other side of it. The thing about dropping a grenade into your own life is that you never really know which direction the shrapnel is going to fly. On the third day after I posted the shop video, my phone turned into a siren. 30 missed calls, 11 voicemails, dozens of unread texts. First it was my dad, then my mom, then the cousins, then relatives whose names I only ever saw on Christmas cards. I watched the screen light up on the workbench at the shop while I changed the oil in a customer's sedan. I didn't touch it, didn't flinch when it buzzed. My coworker, Luis, glanced over at the vibrating phone. "Everything okay?" he asked. "Just family," I said. "Car's in better shape than they are." He laughed, not really understanding, and went back to his own bay. When lunch came around, I finally picked up the phone. Not to answer, just to listen. Mom's voicemail came first, her voice warped by panic and tears. "Tessa, honey, what are you doing? You're tearing this family apart. Call your father. Take that video down. Please, please, just fix this." Then Dad's voice. He started quiet, almost calm. "Tess, this is getting out of hand. You made your point. Take the post down and we'll talk like adults." By the third voicemail, he'd dropped the calm act. "You ungrateful little brat. You made me look like a fool in front of everyone. You think strangers know you better than your own father? Take the damn video down or don't bother coming back here." Message after message piled up. My cousins, suddenly all sunshine. "Nathan, Hey, Tess. Didn't mean anything by the comments, lol. You know how we joke. Your shop is actually sick, though. We should collab on something. Eric. My bad about the trade school comment. Proud of you, cuz. Hit me up. Josh. We're family at the end of the day. Don't let social media ruin that. Then my uncle, the one who never called unless someone died. Tessa, what did you do? Fix this now. I scrolled through all of it with the sound off, my thumb moving automatically, my heart oddly still. They had no idea. They thought I was still the kid who took the heat and said nothing. The girl who laughed it off when they joked about my hobbies, asked if I still played mechanic, like it was a phase I'd outgrow. They didn't know I'd been planning my exit for months, not just from the driveway, from the version of myself they kept trying to nail down like a license plate. Ryan texted 3 times. I saw the comments. I'm sorry, Tess. Are they threatening you? Please tell me you're somewhere safe. I'll come over. I replied once. I'm at the shop. I'm fine. Then I put the phone face down and stared at the concrete floor. The truth was, this wasn't just about the car video. That clip was just the latest in a long string of hits. The time he showed up drunk at my high school graduation and shouted my name wrong. The time he told my then boyfriend in college that I was too soft and would probably end up coming back home broke. The time he laughed in front of my friends when I said I wanted to work with cars professionally and asked if I was going to marry a wrench too. Death by 1,000 jokes. I'd kept receipts, not because I planned to use them. At first, I think I kept them to convince myself it was really happening. Screenshots of group chats, photos, voicemails, little digital bruises. That night, after the shop closed, I didn't go home. I stayed, turned off the front lights, left only the fluorescents humming above my bay. The place felt like a church after hours. I opened my laptop, created a new folder, and dragged everything in. Familychat.png, grad night, of voicemail, classic Tessa, MP3. Years of being the punchline, laid out in neat rows. I didn't cry. I thought I might. But instead, I felt this strange, steady calm, like I'd been holding my breath for years and was finally, slowly, starting to exhale. Then I opened a new video project. The first clip I dropped in was my dad's Facebook post, his caption, the laughing emojis, the comments from cousins. Then my own shop video. Then snapshots of the group chat. Then audio of his "You Owe Me" voicemails. Piece by piece, I built a timeline. Not a sob story, not a revenge montage, just a pattern. When I finished the rough cut, I hit play and watched myself move through it from the other side. There I was as a teenager, cheeks flushed, trying to laugh, while my dad imitated my voice in front of guests. There was the screenshot of my aunt saying, "You know how sensitive Tessa is, don't take her seriously." There were the text messages from Dad when I first mentioned leasing a bay in someone else's garage. Cute idea. You'll get bored. Real jobs don't come with oil stains. And then finally, the Ford in the driveway. Me under the hood. Him laughing from behind the camera. I added one last clip. My face, freshly filmed, sitting at my desk in the shop office. Hair down, no grease, just me. I looked straight into the lens. I'm not asking for sympathy, I said softly. I'm not asking anyone to hate my dad. I just want to set the record straight. I took a breath. I'm not a loser. I'm not ashamed of where I come from, but I'm not going to let anyone, family or not, rewrite my story while I'm still writing it. I ended the video there. No dramatic music, no text overlays begging for likes or shares, just a fade to black. It took me 3 tries to hit post. Once I did, there was no taking it back. I uploaded it to my page, linked it under the original shop video, and locked my phone in the office drawer. The next morning, the reaction was louder, wider, heavier. The local garage community shared it again, but this time, it didn't stop there. A therapist who specialized in trauma reposted it with a long caption about emotional abuse and jokes that leave scars. A nonprofit page for adult children of toxic parents stitched my video into theirs, tagging my shop and saying, "If you've ever been the family scapegoat, you're not alone." Orders for basic services doubled overnight. People were booking oil changes and inspections with little notes. "Saw your video, proud of you. Bringing my car to you on purpose." Strangers sent me messages like, "Thank you, this looks a lot like my dad." I thought I was crazy for being hurt by jokes. I'm not. Luis whistled when he saw the schedule. "Damn, boss," he grinned. "We're actually booked out." Boss. The word landed differently this time. I should have felt victorious, but there was a knot in my stomach that wouldn't untangle. Around noon, I checked my phone again. Mom's name sat at the top of the notifications, highlighted. Her message was short. Your father is in the hospital. Panic attack. A real one. At first, they thought it was his heart. Are you happy now? I read it once, twice, a third time. Are you happy now? My hands started shaking, not out of guilt exactly, but out of something else. Something raw and familiar. Because even now, with everything laid bare, she still found a way to make it about me. Like I'd put the panic attack in his chest. Like years of jokes, manipulation, and public humiliation had nothing to do with it. I locked my phone again, set it down on the counter, and gripped the edge of the workbench until my knuckles went white. The shop around me hummed with normal life, air compressors hissing, tools clinking, Louise singing off key to the radio. But inside my head, that one sentence kept echoing. Are you happy now? The truth was, I didn't know what I felt. I just knew one thing for sure. Whatever came next, I wasn't going back to who I used to be. If the first two videos were fire, my dad decided he was going to show up with a gasoline truck. By the time I got home that night, hair smelling like motor oil, shoulders aching from a 14-hour day, I collapsed on the couch, kicked off my boots, and finally turned my phone back on. It lit up instantly. Pings, notifications, mentions, tags. I didn't even have to open anything to feel it. He was at it again. I went straight to his profile, and there it was, a new account. At The Real Free Labor Dad. His first video was a selfie taken in his truck, holding one of my old wrenches like a stage prop. My daughter thinks I'm the bad guy, but every story needs one. Let's talk. Hashtag family, hashtag real talk, hashtag proud father. I could feel my jaw tighten. In the video, he talked about how he pushed me hard because he believed in me, how I was always a sensitive kid who took things too seriously, how he regretted the way he said things, but not the reason. He ended it with a dramatic sigh and a shaky smile. And the comments. God, the comments. You're a great dad. Kids today can't handle tough love. She'll come around. And in between them, sprinkled like landmines, your daughter is exploiting you for clout. No wonder she's bitter. She wants attention. I closed the app before I threw the phone across the room. 5 minutes later, it buzzed again. A DM from someone I hadn't heard from in over a year. Chloe, Ryan's ex. Of course, because why wouldn't she be involved somehow? Her message was short, but it punched straight through my ribs. Saw your dad's live. He mentioned something about you always being dramatic. Guess some things don't change, lol. I stared at her message long enough for the screen to dim. I didn't respond. I just leaned my head back and closed my eyes, letting the silence press against me. This wasn't just humiliation anymore. This was a campaign, a performance, a brand. And I wasn't even the one who created it. The next day at the shop, things got weirder. A guy walked in during a tire rotation and asked, "Hey, is the TikTok dad going to be here? My daughter wants a photo." I blinked at him. "Sir, this is an auto shop." He laughed like I was joking. I didn't laugh back. An hour later, a woman asked if she could book an appointment, but only if the father-daughter reconciliation story was real. It was getting dangerous. My business name, my face, my story, they were all being wrapped into some delusional public narrative my dad was building out of thin air. Social media wasn't just annoying anymore. It was bleeding into real life, into my livelihood. And the worst part? He loved it. Every time I refreshed his page, he had posted something new. A video of him standing outside his garage, pretending it was my shop. A montage of old photos of me as a kid set to dramatic violin music. A voiceover where he said, "I raised her tough. She may hate me now, but the world made her tough. I just prepared her." The comments were a nightmare. People praising him as some misunderstood hero. Others calling me ungrateful, broken, unstable. I wanted to scream. Instead, I got quiet. Because what Dad didn't know was this. I had receipts. Not memes, not jokes. Evidence. Every call, every voicemail, every gaslighting moment, every manipulation disguised as fatherly concern, all saved, organized, time-stamped, ready. Not for revenge, for truth. And I knew exactly who could help me. Jenna, my closest friend. Smart, observant. A former journalism major who switched to marketing because she got tired of being censored by editors. And Marcus, the guy who helped me file my LLC. Sharp mind, loyal, zero tolerance for hypocrisy. He didn't talk much, but when he did, it mattered. I texted them both the same message. I need help. Within an hour, they were at my shop. We sat in the back office surrounded by paperwork, tools, and the low hum of fluorescent lights. I told them everything, showed them everything. The videos, the fake sympathy posts, the live streams, Chloe's messages, the customers who came for photo ops. Jenna's face went pale. Marcus's jaw flexed like he was grinding invisible gravel. This isn't just petty family drama, Jenna said. He's monetizing you. He's building a brand off of your life, Marcus added. Off your pain. I nodded slowly. I know. Then I opened the folder from my desk drawer. Inside was a contract. Clean, airtight. Drafted by a lawyer Marcus knew. It stated, my dad could not use my name, image, business, or story in any content. He could not claim association with Free Labor Auto. He could not step foot in my shop unless invited. No exceptions. And then I told them the rest of the plan. A setup, not malicious, just revealing. The truth in plain sight. I would invite my dad to the shop under the guise of discussing a Channel 4 father-daughter redemption arc, because of course he'd fall for that. He loved cameras more than he ever loved consequences. He would come alone, early morning, before customers arrived, and the entire conversation recorded. Jenna would be in the next room, listening. Marcus would be filming, quietly at first, then openly. And if my dad tried to lie or twist or manipulate, we'd have evidence. Not edited, not stitched, not narrated. Just shown. Because people believe what they see. And sometimes the only way to stop a performance is with a bigger stage. I sent the message late Friday night. Dad, maybe we should talk. Maybe Channel 4 was right. Come to my shop tomorrow morning. Just us. Off the record. His reply came within 60 seconds, all caps. Proud of you, champ. Let's make something great out of this. He said he'd bring notes and content ideas. Of course he would. He thought it was his big break. He had no idea it was mine. Saturday morning arrived with a cold, metallic stillness, the kind that settles over a shop before the bay doors roll open and the day begins. The air outside was crisp, pale, almost too quiet. Inside Free Labor Auto, every light was off except the ones in the office. Jenna sat behind the cracked door of the storage room, headphones plugged in, listening through the mic feed. Marcus stood near my desk, leaning casually against the file cabinet, phone ready but angled down, recording without drawing attention. I'd never felt so awake, or so ready. At 7:45 a.m., 15 minutes earlier than I told him, I heard his footsteps, hard, confident, like he owned the floor he was walking on. Then the bell over the front entrance chimed. Tessa! His voice bounced through the garage like a bad advertisement. I was sitting at my desk when he walked into the office, dressed nicer than usual, polo shirt tucked in, freshly shaved. To anyone else, he might have looked like a proud dad here to celebrate his daughter's success. But I saw it immediately. The rehearsed smile, the brightness in his eyes that never reached the edges. He looked like a man preparing for a press shoot. Well, look at this place. He gestured broadly, scanning the office. My girl's really doing it. Knew you had it in you. He said it like the last week hadn't happened. Like the hospital lie, the TikToks, the comments, the 30 missed calls, none of it existed. Sit, I said quietly. He froze for a split second, like he wasn't used to hearing that tone from me, then pulled out the metal chair across from my desk. His knee bumped the folder I'd placed there on purpose. What's this? He asked. A contract. He opened it, read the first few lines. Then the smile slipped exactly the way I knew it would. You've got to be kidding me, he said, laughing. You're really making this legal? You can't use my name, face, shop, or story in your videos, I said evenly. Not anymore. He let out a louder laugh, forced, sharp. Jesus, Tessa, you're really going to cut your own father out of the biggest moment of your life? I didn't answer. I just pointed to the Bluetooth speaker on the shelf behind me. The red recording light was blinking. His eyes narrowed. You're recording this? I nodded. I've been recording everything. His face twisted, an expression I'd seen before, usually right before he called me too sensitive or too emotional. Paranoid, he muttered. You're turning into a real little snake. My hand curled under the desk, nails digging into my palm. Then he leaned back in his chair, crossed one leg over the other, and smirked. I already talked to Channel 4. Full interview yesterday. My stomach nodded, but I didn't blink. He continued, proud of himself. Told them you cut me off, that you're unstable, and I'm worried about you. They loved it, ate it up. They want both of us on camera for a feel-good reunion. Old photos, emotional sit-down, the whole thing. My throat went dry, but I kept my voice steady. Why would I agree to that? He shrugged. Because you're not stupid. This is exposure, Tess. You want your business to grow? You want customers? Media matters. Play along. A father-daughter redemption arc? People love that stuff. His confidence was nauseating. He genuinely believed he had me cornered. He genuinely believed I still needed his permission to succeed. And then the office door opened. Jenna stepped out first, phone in hand, eyes sharp. Right behind her came Marcus, no longer hiding his camera, angled directly at my father's face. My dad jerked to his feet so fast the chair screeched across the floor. "What the hell is this?" Jenna's voice was ice. "We've been listening since the beginning." Marcus added, "You're done, Frank." My father froze, completely still, like someone hit pause on him. Jenna held up her phone, text messages, voicemails, all from him, all recent. "Is this your voice?" she asked. The hospital voicemail played through her speaker, his admission that the panic attack wasn't real. He needed a sympathy break. He thought a little scare would help his follower count. He went pale, but his mouth kept moving. "This is manipulation," he snapped. "You're setting me up. The family will never forgive you for this." Marcus didn't even flinch. He simply lifted his phone higher, making it clear the live stream had started. The viewer count was already climbing into the thousands. My father finally saw the screen. "Turn that off!" "No," Marcus said. "The truth stays on." My dad spun toward me like I'd betrayed him. His voice cracked with something between rage and disbelief. "You think you're protecting yourself? You think this ends with your stupid shop?" He pointed at me, shaking. "You owe me!" And for the first time in my life, I didn't flinch. I stood slowly, deliberately. "I don't owe you anything," I said softly. He stared at me like the floor had just split open beneath him. "You built a fantasy version of yourself online," I continued. "I'm just showing people the real one." Jenna stepped beside me. Marcus angled his camera one last time. My father's face contorted, humiliation, anger, fear, all tangled into something unrecognizable. Then he turned, stormed out of the office, out of the shop, out into the morning light. The bell over the front door jingled weakly behind him. And just like that, he was gone. No dramatic monologue, no apology, just a slammed door and a fading shadow. But even after all that, it wasn't over. The aftermath. By Monday morning, my messages were a war zone. My father's sister. "You humiliated the family name." "Nathan, you took things too far." Another cousin. "We were just joking. Why'd you have to go nuclear?" Suddenly, the same people who laughed at me for fixing a car were now experts on forgiveness, on family, on loyalty. And then Channel 4 called. I expected screaming, legal threats, anger. Instead, the producer's voice was calm. "We saw the live stream," she said. "We're dropping the father-daughter segment." A beat of silence. "Instead, we'd like to profile you, your business, how you built something while cutting ties with toxic family dynamics." I didn't answer right away. It felt unreal, like someone was offering me a version of my life without all the noise. "I'll think about it," I said. And I meant it, because suddenly, for the first time, there was space to think. That afternoon, I went to a phone store, got a new SIM card, new number, no backups. When I walked out, my phone was blank, silent, peaceful, mine again. That evening, as the sun dipped behind the shop, I stepped outside and took a picture of the new sign we'd finally installed. Free Labor Auto, bold, clean, standing tall above the world that once mocked me. I posted it with one sentence. "Built out of disrespect, running on peace." No comments allowed, no explanations, no apologies. Just truth. Then I turned off the phone, turned off the lights, locked the door. For the first time in my life, the quiet felt like mine. And the story that used to belong to everyone else, it finally belonged to me.